Good evening and welcome to tonight's regional news. We begin with a rather sad story from Trinidad and Tobago. For 7 days, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago held their breaths, hanging on to hope and praying that Andrea Barrett would be found alive. That hope dissolved in tears on Thursday afternoon when her body was found down a precipice along a road in the forested heights in Arepo, Arima. The decomposing body of the 22-year-old Arima Magistrates Court clerk was found by a scrap iron dealer driving through the area at around 12:20 p.m. The head was facing down. The body was clad in underwear and multicolored top. The confirmation came through the clothing. Police believed she was killed days ago. There was a 7-day search for Barrett by police, soldiers, hunters, hikers, and concerned citizens. It will now have to be determined how Barrett was killed. Barrett's father, Randolph Barrett, and her aunt, Wendy Williams, were escorted to the scene by police officers at around 3:10 p.m. Williams, who was inconsolable, said she had been caring for Barrett since her mother's death 8 years ago. I quote, "She is not my niece. She is my child. I want my child to come home. I can't go another night without her. She is my baby." End of quote, she wailed. Barrett, a University of the West Indies graduate, last Friday got into a taxi at King Street, Arima, with a co-worker. The taxi, a Nissan Versa, carried false age plates. Barrett and her friend were in the back seat. There was a man in the front passenger seat. The friend was dropped off shortly after at Cleaver Heights, Arima. After some time had elapsed, her father called her phone, but a man answered saying that she was not available. He pleaded to hear his child's voice, but the man responded, I quote, "This is about money. If you don't pay the ransom, I will cut off your daughter's ears and send it to you." End of quote. Barrett never made it home. Still in Trinidad and Tobago, anyone wanting to leave Trinidad and Tobago on a Caribbean Airlines CAL flight will need an exemption from the Ministry of National Security. The Twin Island Republic's flag carrier has said. CAL, in a customer service advisory, said that effective immediately, all departing passengers must adhere to the new online exemption process implemented by the Ministry of National Security under the country's COVID-19 measures. I quote, "Prior to their date of travel, persons wishing to depart Trinidad and Tobago for any international or regional destination must apply for a travel exemption. Customers are reminded that their exemption approvals are applied against the respective passports submitted on their exemption request forms, and they must present the same travel documents used with the request forms at check-in," end of quote, it said. CAL added that passengers may obtain online exemptions up to the time of check-in. The state-owned airline also encouraged all passengers to verify the entry requirements and other important travel information for their intended destination. Now in Montserrat, the first batch of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine containing 3,000 doses arrived in Montserrat from the United Kingdom at 3:47 p.m. on Wednesday. On Monday, February 8, the Ministry of Health will begin to administer the vaccines to individuals who have already registered. To date, 351 persons have registered to take the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. In late 2020, the United Kingdom government announced that UK overseas territories will be provided with COVID-19 vaccines. Governor Andrew Pearce and the Premier Joseph E. Farrell have both confirmed that they will be vaccinated on Monday, February 8, 2021. And finally, internationally, U.S. President Joe Biden will seek to raise annual refugee admissions to 125,000 in the coming fiscal year, more than an 8-fold increase after former President Donald Trump slashed levels to a historic low. Biden also said he would approve an executive order to build up the country's capacity to accept refugees in the face of, I quote, "unprecedented global need," end of quote. Biden said the goal is 125,000 refugee admissions, which begins on October 1, 2021. Biden has pledged to restore the United States' historic role as a country that welcomes refugees from around the world after 4 years of cuts to admissions under Trump. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees estimates there are 1.4 million refugees worldwide in urgent need of resettlement. That was all for tonight's regional news. Thank you for watching. Bye now.